Stay away for a while. My ex is crashing here, and I don't want problems, she told her boyfriend of 2 years. He said, okay. She didn't realize he meant forever. What's going on, everybody? It's Qley. Today's story is a masterclass in what happens when a guy finally decides he's done being the understanding boyfriend. This dude got asked to leave his own apartment, so his girlfriend's ex could crash there comfortably. And instead of arguing, he just said okay. Except his version of okay and her version of okay were two very different things. If you haven't already, smash that subscribe button because stories like this are why this channel exists. He starts it off like this. I, 28 male, honestly never thought I'd be posting one of these. Like genuinely. I'd scroll through Reddit on my lunch break, read someone's story about their girl doing something insane, and think, yeah, that's rough, buddy, but that wouldn't happen to me. I'm too smart for that. I pay attention. I'd see it coming a mile away. Turns out I didn't see anything coming. Not even a little. My girlfriend Megan, 26 female, and I were together for 2 years when she sat me down in our kitchen, the kitchen in our apartment that I paid most of the rent on, by the way, and casually told me I needed to disappear for a while because her ex-boyfriend was moving in, and my presence would stress him out. She said it the same way you'd tell someone you're switching to a new laundry detergent. No big deal. Just logistics. I remember she was chopping onions while she said it. Didn't even stop chopping. I said, okay. She smiled. I left that night and never came back. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me rewind because none of this hits the same without the full picture of how normal everything was before it all went sideways. I met Megan through mutual friends at a rooftop party in July 2022. Hot summer night, the kind where the city feels alive and everyone's just in a good mood for no reason. Music was loud, people everywhere. Skyline doing that orange glow thing right before the sun drops. I was standing near the edge talking to my buddy Kyle about, I don't know, fantasy football or something, when I noticed this girl by the railing laughing at something her friend said. And I mean really laughing. Head back, eyes closed, whole face changed. Something about it just pulled me over. I can't explain it any better than that. We ended up talking for almost 3 hours straight. She was a freelance graphic designer, did branding work and social media stuff for small businesses out of her apartment. I was a project coordinator at an architecture firm downtown. Normal people doing normal things. Nothing crazy. I should mention, there was this guy at the party playing guitar in the corner the entire time, and he was absolutely terrible. But everyone was too polite to say anything. He played Wonderwall twice. Anyway, Megan and I exchanged numbers that night and went on our first date 4 days later. Italian place downtown. One of those spots with the red checkered tablecloths and candles, jammed into old bottles. The waiter was this older Italian guy who called everyone my friend and looked personally offended when I didn't order the special. She got the carbonara. I got the bolognese. We split a tiramisu because I guess that's just what you do at Italian restaurants on a first date. The conversation just flowed though. No weird silences, no reaching for topics. She talked about her design work and I was genuinely interested, which, look, I'm not always great at pretending to care about stuff, but I didn't have to pretend. I told her about the architecture firm and she actually listened. Not the polite nodding thing where someone's waiting for their turn. Real question, real engagement. We walked along the waterfront after, and there was this street musician playing saxophone near the bridge, who was actually pretty good. She kissed me first. I remember walking back to my car thinking, okay, this might actually be something real. By September, we were spending every weekend together. December, we were talking about moving in. She brought it up first, and I was into it, so we ran with it. March, we signed a lease on a one-bedroom, $1,400 a month, split 50-50. Groceries, utilities, streaming, all of it down the middle. It felt grown up, stable, like we were actually building something real instead of just floating through that honeymoon phase, where everything's exciting but nothing's solid yet. The apartment was small, but it worked. Exposed brick in the living room, which I thought was cool, and she thought was aesthetic, whatever that means. Kitchen so tiny that if both of us were in there at the same time, we were basically slow dancing. Weird tile pattern in the bathroom from the 70s that we said we'd replace, but never did. She set up her design station in the corner of the bedroom, with 2 monitors and a drawing tablet that cost more than our couch. I worked from the kitchen table most days, blueprints spread between cereal bowls and coffee mugs. Our neighbor down the hall was this older lady named Doris, who baked cookies every Sunday and left them outside her door. I mean, they weren't great cookies. Kinda dry. But it was a nice gesture. We had routines. Morning coffee where we'd sit across from each other barely talking, but it wasn't weird. Farmer's market on Saturdays where she'd spend 20 minutes picking tomatoes, like she was defusing a bomb, while I wandered around looking at overpriced candles and those weird artisan soaps that smell like a forest threw up. Movie nights where we'd argue about what to watch and end up rewatching the same show for the fourth time. For the first year, honestly, it was good. Easy. The kind of thing where you don't have to constantly work at it because the foundation just feels right. She talked about the future like I was in it. I did the same. Weren't engaged, but the direction was obvious. But there was always Brody. Megan and Brody had dated for 4 years before me. High school sweethearts who stuck together through college and into their early 20s. She told me about him on our third date. Said it ended badly. Toxic patterns, codependency, brought out the worst in each other. All that stuff. She ended it. That was 2 years before me. She said they stayed in touch. Casual, no drama. And look, I respected that. I'm not the kind of dude who tells his girlfriend to delete every guy from her past just because I showed up. People have history. That's life. But Brody's name came up way more than I expected. A text here. A call there. Brody asked about that restaurant we tried. Brody might swing through town next month. Brody thinks she should try different design software. Small stuff that didn't set off alarms on its own. Just enough to keep him, I don't know, present. Like a TV on in the other room you stop noticing until someone turns it off and you realize how quiet it actually is without it. Wait. Stop for a second. Let me just highlight something here because I think it's important. This dude Brody is already embedded in their daily life, and she hasn't even done anything wrong yet. She's mentioning him in casual conversation, forwarding his opinions, keeping his name in rotation. That's not staying in touch. That's keeping someone warm on the bench. She might not even realize she's doing it, but OP's picking up on it. And instead of flipping out, he files it away. Smart man. But also, this is the slow drip that turns into a flood. Keep that in mind. Okay, back to it. The first real red flag showed up in early fall. September, maybe October. Wait, no. It was definitely October because I remember the Halloween decorations were already up at the coffee shop on our block. Doesn't matter. Megan told me Brody was going through a rough time. Lost his sales job at some mid-sized company during a round of layoffs. Couldn't make rent. Wasn't sleeping well. She said he called her one night all overwhelmed, needing someone to talk to. She felt bad for him. Said he didn't have a lot of people in his corner. His family wasn't great. His friend group had scattered after college, the way friend groups do when everyone moves to different cities and stops putting in the effort. I told her that was rough. Layoffs are brutal and they're happening to everybody right now. Then she said she wanted to lend him some money. 200, maybe 3. I said that's generous. Chose my words real carefully. She said he'd do the same for her. Said it with this certainty that made my stomach tight. I didn't push it. Her money, her call. But something about the way she said it felt off. Not the helping part. The obligation behind it. Like she owed him something I couldn't see. 2 weeks later, she Venmo'd him 500. Not 2 or 300 like she originally said. 500. She showed me the receipt unprompted. Like she wanted credit for being open about it or whatever. Said he needed it for rent. Promised he'd pay it back end of the month. End of the month came. Went. No payback. She didn't mention it. I didn't either. That 500 just kind of vanished into the gap between what she said and what actually happened. I filed it in the back of my brain and kept moving. By November, Brody was texting her almost every day. I'd see his name pop up on her screen while we were eating dinner or watching something. She'd smile, sometimes laugh. I asked once what they talked about. She said just catching up, he's doing better, found some freelance work. The text kept coming though. Morning, afternoon, late at night. And she started doing this thing where she'd angle her phone away when I walked into a room. Not dramatically, just a slight turn of the wrist. Like she thought I wouldn't notice. Except I noticed every single time. It's one of those things where once you see it, you can't unsee it. One night I came home around 7:30 after a brutal day dealing with a contractor who apparently couldn't read a blueprint if his life depended on it. This guy literally rotated the plans 90 degrees and started framing a wall in the wrong direction. I'm still not over it. Anyway, Megan was on the couch, phone in hand, grinning at something on the screen. I dropped my bag. What's so funny? She jumped, locked her phone fast. Nothing. Just a meme Brody sent. Can I see? It's stupid, she said. You wouldn't get it. Inside joke. Inside joke. Those 2 words just sat in my brain for days after that. Couldn't shake them. Because inside jokes mean history. They mean closeness. They mean 2 people built something between them that nobody else can access. And whatever he was sending her was hitting different than anything I'd said to her in months. That part I couldn't ignore no matter how hard I tried. I let it go. Told myself I was overthinking it. A week later, Brody called her at 11 at night. We were in bed, half asleep. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand, and she grabbed it, saw the name, sat up immediately. I should take this. He's definitely having a hard time. I'll be quick. She went to the living room, closed the door. I laid there staring at the ceiling, listening to muffled conversation through the wall. She laughed twice, and not the polite kind of laugh you give someone who's venting about their problems. A real laugh. 23 minutes. I know because I watched the clock the entire time. When she came back, I asked if everything was okay. She said, yeah, he just needed to vent. Work stuff. At 11 at night? He's a night owl, she said. Like calling your ex-girlfriend near midnight on a Tuesday was just a personality quirk. I didn't sleep well that night. Or the next. Hold on. I need to point something out here. She's taking this man's calls in the middle of the night, walking into another room, closing the door, laughing, and then coming back to bed next to her actual boyfriend and acting like nothing happened. And when he asks about it, she hits him with, he's a night owl. That's not an explanation. That's a dismissal. She's not even trying to make it make sense because she doesn't think she has to. In her mind, OP's role is to understand, to be cool with it, to not make things weird. She's basically assigned him the job of being okay with everything, and he didn't even apply for the position. All right, let's keep going. By mid-November, it was getting worse. Way worse. The way she'd light up when his name popped on screen, like her whole face would change and she didn't even know it. How she'd check her phone constantly, even while I was mid-sentence. Like part of her brain had checked out and was just waiting for the next buzz. We'd be watching a movie and she'd pick up her phone, smile at something, type back, put it down. No, oh, that was funny, or sorry, what were you saying? Just silence. I stopped asking after the third time she told me it was nothing, because at some point you hear that enough and you start believing something different. One Saturday we were grocery shopping. She was picking through apples while there was a kid in the next aisle having a complete meltdown about wanting Lucky Charms, and his mom was just standing there looking dead inside. Relatable content. Anyway, Megan's phone buzzed. She pulled it out, read the message, smiled. Brody? I asked. She looked up startled, like she forgot I was standing right there. Yeah, he sent a photo of a dog he saw on his walk. Cool, I said. She put her phone away. The smile stayed, and I wanted to ask, are you still into him? Am I just keeping the seat warm? But I didn't, because part of me already knew and the rest of me wasn't ready to hear it. The breaking point came on a Tuesday in late November. Cold, gray, sun went down at like 4:30. One of those evenings where you just feel tired for no reason. I got home around 7 after spending my entire afternoon on permit approvals that should have taken an hour tops, but instead turned into this 5-email chain with the city inspector's office. Actually, back up. I should mention that this inspector, a guy named Gerald, had been a thorn in my side for weeks. Dude would reject submissions over font size. Font size, anyway. So, I walk in already drained, and Megan's in the kitchen chopping vegetables for stir-fry. Hair tied up, oversized sweater, bare feet on the cold tile, some song playing from her phone propped against the spice rack. She looked totally relaxed while I'm over here still mentally drafting a strongly worded email to Gerald about zoning setback requirements. Hey, how was your day? Good. She didn't look up from the cutting board. Listen, I need to talk to you about something. I grabbed a glass of water, leaned against the counter. What's up? Brody's coming into town this weekend. He needs a place to crash for a few days. I told him he could stay here. I set the glass down slow. Here. In our apartment. Yeah, just for the weekend. Maybe longer. He's between places right now. Then she paused, knife hovering over the cutting board. Or maybe I'll let him have the bed. I can take the couch. I don't want him to feel uncomfortable. I just stared at her. You want to give your ex our bed? It's not like that. He's going through a lot, I just want to help. Megan, he's your ex-boyfriend. You're asking him to sleep in our home. In our bed. How is that not like that? She got defensive fast. I knew you'd make this weird. This is exactly why I didn't want to tell you. Make this weird? You think me having a problem with this is the weird part here? He's my friend. You're being controlling. I'm not being controlling. I'm setting a boundary. Those are different things. She put the knife down. Arms crossed. I already told him yes. He's coming Friday. Fine. Then I'll stay somewhere else this weekend? No. Her tone dropped. Went cold. That's the thing. I need you to not come around at all for a while. Those words hit me like somebody dumped ice water down my back. Brody's dealing with a lot right now. Seeing you here, knowing I moved on, it's gonna make things harder for him. I don't want issues, so I just need you to give us some space until he gets settled. I stood there, silent, the refrigerator humming, traffic sounds from 14 floors down. My own heartbeat loud in my ears. You're asking me to leave our apartment, so your ex-boyfriend can stay here, without me. Because me being in my own home will upset him, just for a little bit. A week? Maybe 2. I'll text you when things calm down. I nodded. Okay. Her shoulders dropped. Relief flooded her face. Thank you. I knew you'd understand. I need to grab some things. Walked into the bedroom, pulled my duffel bag from the closet. The black one, not the gym bag. Actually, wait, no. I think it was the gray one. Doesn't matter. I packed it up. Clothes, toiletries, laptop charger, phone charger, my watch from the nightstand, the book I was reading, important documents from the desk drawer. Grabbed this framed photo of me and my brother too. Just moved through the room like I was checking out of a hotel. No real emotion happening. Just hands doing stuff while my brain was already 3 steps ahead, figuring out the next move. She stayed in the kitchen the whole time. Never came to check on me, never asked if I was okay, nothing. Didn't even seem to notice I was packing way more than a guy packs for a week away. When I came back out, she was plating the stir fry. 2 plates. 2. Like I was still gonna sit down and have dinner with her after she just told me to vacate my own apartment so her ex-boyfriend could feel comfortable. The 2 plates thing still gets me, honestly. That's the detail that lives rent-free in my head. She looked up, smiled. I'll call you in a few days, okay? Once he settles in, we'll figure out when you can come back. Sure, I said. Walked out the door. Took the elevator down 14 floors. Hallway smelled like somebody's takeout. Indian food, I think. Maybe Thai. One of those. Got in my car. Sat in the parking garage for probably a full minute, just gripping the steering wheel and staring at the concrete wall in front of me. I wasn't crying or anything like that. I wasn't even that mad, to be real with you. There was just this weird calm that had settled over everything. Like my brain had already made the decision, and my body was just now getting the memo. Then I drove to my brother's place across town. He opened the door, saw the bag, saw my face. What happened? I need a couch for a few nights. He stepped aside. Didn't ask questions. He knows me. He knew I'd talk when I was ready. That night, I sat in his guest room staring at my phone. Megan hadn't texted. Not a single time. Not even a quick, hey, did you get there safe? Or, thanks for understanding. Or literally anything at all. Complete silence. Like asking her boyfriend to clear out of his own apartment so her ex could move in was just a scheduling conflict that got handled, and now she could go back to watching Netflix or whatever. At 11:30, I opened my contacts, found her name, blocked it. Then I just started going through everything. Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, blocked on all of them, deleted the message threads, removed the photos we were tagged in together. I wasn't doing it in some dramatic, I'm erasing you from my life kind of way. It was more like cleaning out a drawer, just getting rid of stuff I didn't need anymore. By midnight, Megan basically didn't exist in my phone. Pause. Just pause. This man packed a bag, walked out of his own apartment, drove to his brother's place, and his girlfriend didn't send a single text. Not one. She was so confident that he'd just roll over and accept this that she didn't even bother checking on him. She plated him dinner. 2 plates. Like he was gonna sit down and eat stir-fry with her after she just told him to vanish so her ex could be comfortable. The audacity of that dinner plate is what kills me. She really thought this was fine. She really thought he'd be back in a week or two, like some sort of emotional Uber she could summon when the ride was over. Let's keep going. Next morning, I woke up and everything was just clear. I don't know how else to describe it. Not angry or heartbroken or anything like that. Just done. Like someone flipped a switch in my brain, and whatever part of me that was willing to tolerate this stuff just powered down overnight. I laid there for maybe 10 minutes staring at the ceiling in my brother's guest room, and the only thought in my head was, okay, so what needs to happen today? Called the landlord at 9. Lease was in both our names, but here's the thing. I'd been covering 60% of the rent for the past 4 months because her freelance income had dropped off. She said she was building her client base, trying to land bigger contracts, whatever. I picked up the slack, didn't complain, didn't keep a running tab. That's just what you do when you think you're building a life with someone, right? So I told the landlord I needed off the lease. He said he'd need her signature to remove me. Cool, I said. Send her the paperwork. I'm not going back there. Went to the bank. We had a joint account for shared expenses. $1,500 sitting in there. I transferred $750, my half, not $1 more. Closed my access, left her with the rest. Fair is fair. Changed every password. Hulu, Spotify, Amazon Prime, all the shared accounts. Updated the emails, revoked her access. She'd figure it out eventually, probably while trying to watch something on a random Tuesday night and getting hit with a login screen. Oh well. Hit the gym that afternoon. 90 minutes. Pushed until my arms shook. There was this older guy on the bench press next to me who kept grunting so loud it sounded like he was auditioning for a nature documentary, and I swear it was the funniest thing I'd heard all week. Showered. Went back to my brother's place. Meal prepped for the week. Chicken, rice, broccoli. 6 containers lined up in his fridge like little soldiers. That evening, my brother asked if I'd heard from her. Nah, I said. And I won't. You sure? 2 years is a long time. I'm sure. The second she asked me to leave so he could stay. That was it. Everything after that is just paperwork. He nodded. Didn't push it. The weekend came and went. I worked, trained, read, slept well for the first time in weeks. Like actually slept. Not that thing where you're laying there at 2 a.m. staring at the ceiling wondering who she's texting. That was gone. All of it. I felt lighter than I had in months, and I didn't fully understand why until later. 3 weeks went by. Thanksgiving came. Spent it with my brother, his wife, and her family. Good food, good people. I helped cook the turkey, which, if you've never deep-fried a turkey in someone's backyard in November, it's an experience. Played cards with their nephews who beat me 3 games straight, and no, I was not letting them win. Those kids are ruthless. One of them told me I played cards like a grandma. He's 9. That Tuesday after Thanksgiving, my brother walked in holding his phone with this look on his face. Dude, Megan just texted me. She's asking if you're okay. Says you blocked her, wants to know how to reach you. Tell her I'm fine, that's all. He typed, sent it. A minute later, his phone buzzed. He read it, looked at me. She says she wants to talk. Says it's important. It's not, I said. He nodded. Put his phone away. 2 days later, Kyle called. Said he ran into Megan at this coffee shop on 5th Street. She asked about me, said I vanished, seemed genuinely confused. Like she genuinely could not figure out what went wrong. Kyle told her I was doing great and had moved on. She started tearing up right there at the counter. Kyle told her he wasn't getting involved. Smart move. I gave him the full story. Brody, the apartment, the request, the 2 dinner plates, the 0 texts. When I finished, he was quiet for a second. Dude, that's insane. Yeah. And she really thought you'd just sit there and wait for her to be done playing house with her ex? Apparently. Good for you, man. Straight up. That same week, Megan tried reaching out to mutual friends. 2 ignored her. 1, Amber, felt bad and called me. Said Megan was a mess. Really missed me, falling apart. I said that's not my problem. Amber asked if I could at least give her some closure. I gave her closure when I left. She says she didn't realize what she was asking, that she thought you understood it was temporary. She asked me to disappear so her ex could move into our home. I mean, there's no version of that where I come back after, and we just pretend none of it happened. All right, stop. Can we just appreciate how clean this guy's operating here? No yelling, no dramatic voicemails, no showing up at the apartment at 2 a.m. banging on the door. He blocked her everywhere, separated finances, hit the gym, and meal prepped. The man responded to the worst relationship betrayal of his life by making chicken and broccoli in Tupperware containers. That's not cold. That's controlled. He didn't give her the satisfaction of a breakdown, because the truth is, she doesn't deserve the energy it would take to have one. Back to the story. Early January. Phone rings. Unknown number. I almost hit decline. I always decline unknown numbers because it's always either a scam or someone trying to sell me an extended car warranty, but something made me pick up. Hello? Hey. Her voice. Quiet, shaky, careful. Like she was testing whether I'd let her finish a sentence before hanging up. It's me, she said. Megan, I borrowed a friend's phone. I know. Silence. Then, why? What did I do? I almost laughed. You're serious right now? Yes, I'm serious. You vanished. I thought we were taking a break. You said okay. You said you understood. I did understand. Perfectly. Then why'd you leave? You asked me to. More silence. I could hear her breathing on the other end. Someone's TV playing in the background on her side. Sounded like a game show. One of those ones where people spin a wheel or whatever. I asked for space. Not for you to disappear forever. I had to stop myself from laughing. You asked me to leave our home so your ex could stay there alone with you, because seeing me would make him uncomfortable. You picked his feelings over our entire relationship. That's not asking for space. That was different. He needed help, and I needed respect. You didn't give it. She got quiet for a long time after that. Then she told me Brody left after 5 days. They got into a fight. He told her she was being controlling, which the irony of that is pretty wild. He moved in with some other girl, someone he'd apparently been seeing the whole time he was crashing at our place. Good for him. She kept going. Said she tried calling me after, that I'd blocked her, that she went to my brother's apartment and he wouldn't let her in. Her voice was cracking at this point. I'm not punishing you. I'm just done. We can fix this. We had 2 years. You can't just throw that away. I didn't throw it away. You did. The second you told me to leave so he could stay, it was over. You just didn't know it yet. People make mistakes. Some mistakes don't get second chances. This is one of them. Her voice rose. So that's it? 2 years and you're just walking away? I already walked away. 6 weeks ago. You just didn't notice. I hung up. She called back. Declined. Called again. Declined. Sent a long text from that same number. apologies mixed with blame. I know I hurt you, but you hurt me too by leaving without an explanation. I blocked the number. Over the next 2 weeks, she went through this whole campaign trying to reach me. Showed up at my brother's place twice, and he told her to stop. She messaged Kyle, Amber, and like 2 other people we knew. Most of them told her to let it go, and a few forwarded me the message. All some version of, please tell him to talk to me. I need closure. I deserve a conversation. She even made a fake Instagram account with a generic name and no profile photo and sent me a DM about how she knew I was avoiding her. Blocked. Then she emailed me. Subject line was, please read this. I hovered over it for like 2 seconds. Deleted it without opening. Part of me was curious what it said. Bigger part of me really wasn't. By late January, the attempts dried up. Megan had finally accepted what I accepted the night I packed that bag. I wasn't coming back. Not now. Not ever. I moved into my own place in February. Studio apartment downtown, 10-minute walk to work, small kitchen, Murphy bed, which, if you've never used one, they're actually kind of great once you stop feeling weird about folding your bed into a wall every morning. Big windows, $700 a month, easy to cover on my own. First night I just laid there and listened. Neighborhood sounds, siren somewhere, some couple arguing 2 floors up about whose turn it was to take the dog out. And I felt this thing I hadn't felt in months. Just quiet. Not the absence of noise. The absence of that constant hum of anxiety that had been running in the back of my head for way longer than I wanted to admit. Furnished the place slow. IKEA couch, desk from a thrift store that had a wobbly leg I kept meaning to fix. Plants on the windowsill that I actually remembered to water, which felt like a personal win considering I'd killed every plant I'd ever owned before that. Put up framed posters I'd had for years but never hung because Megan said they didn't match the vibe of the apartment, whatever that means, made the whole place mine. I could eat cereal at midnight standing over the sink in my boxers, and nobody was going to say a word about it. The little things, man. Started running mornings, 5 miles, 6 days a week. Dropped 15 pounds and didn't even realize it until my jeans started falling off. Read more books in 2 months than I'd read the entire time I was with Megan. Got back into sketching, something I used to do in college before I convinced myself I didn't have time. Bought pencils and a sketchbook, spent weekend mornings by the window drawing buildings and people, and this old guy across the street who sat on his porch every morning reading an actual physical newspaper like the internet never happened. Reconnected with friends I'd been blowing off. Took a weekend trip to the mountains and hiked until my legs gave out and my brain was finally quiet. In March, I met someone at a coffee shop near my apartment. She was reading a book I'd just finished, and we started talking, and 20 minutes went by before either of us noticed we were still standing there holding cold drinks. Her name was Natalie. Nurse. Pediatrics. Loved hiking. Had a dog named Charlie who she showed me like 47 photos of before our food even came. I didn't mind at all. No ex-drama, no phone games. Just a person who was fully there when she was with me. Who actually looked at me when I talked instead of sneaking peeks at her screen every 30 seconds waiting for someone else's name to show up. I forgot what that felt like. Second date. Third. By April, we were hanging out twice a week. Sometimes more. She met my brother and they hit it off right away, which kind of surprised me because my brother's picky about people. I met her friends. Everything just felt easy in this way that, and I know this sounds weird, actually made me a little sad, because it made me realize how hard things had been with Megan for a long time. I just hadn't wanted to see it back then. One evening, we were eating at my place. I made pasta, she brought dessert. We're on the couch, plates on our knees, some nature documentary playing that neither of us was watching. Can I ask you something? She said. Sure. Your last relationship? What happened? I told her the truth. She asked me to leave our apartment so her ex could stay. I said okay and left for good. She stared at me. What? She wanted him there without me because my being around would upset him. And you just left? Yeah. That must have hurt. It did. But it made things real clear, real fast. She reached over and took my hand. I'm glad you left, she said. Me too. Stop. Just stop for a second. Natalie heard that story, and her response was, I'm glad you left. Not, oh, maybe you should have fought for it, or, have you considered her side? She heard the whole thing, and her immediate reaction was relief that he got out. That tells you everything about the kind of person she is. And it also tells you what a normal, healthy response to that story sounds like. Because Megan would have heard the same story about someone else's relationship and still somehow found a way to make it about Brody's feelings. Anyway, back to it. 3 months after I left, I ran into Megan at a grocery store. Produce section. I was grabbing avocados, trying to figure out which ones were ripe because I swear it's impossible to tell, when I heard her voice behind me. Hey. I turned. Same face, different energy, tired. Eyes that looked like they hadn't rested properly in weeks. uncertain smile, like she wasn't sure if I'd walk away without saying anything. She was holding a basket with like 3 things in it: a box of pasta, a bag of spinach, and some yogurt. For some reason, that detail stuck with me, the smallness of it. Like she was shopping for one now. Hey, she'd heard I was seeing someone, I confirmed. She nodded, looked down at her basket. I'm happy for you, she said. Didn't sound happy. Thanks. Long pause. You could hear the store going on around us. Carts rolling, people talking, those produce misters doing their thing in the background. 2 people who used to share a bed, just standing 3 feet apart next to the avocados, with absolutely nothing left to say. Do you ever think about us? Barely above a whisper. No. She flinched like I'd flicked her. Not at all? Not at all. Her eyes started going red. I miss you. You miss having someone who put up with being disrespected. That's not the same thing as missing me. I dropped 3 avocados in my basket, walked past her toward checkout, didn't turn around. That night, Natalie asked if I was okay. I told her I ran into my ex. She apologized, asked to talk. Natalie asked what I said. I told her no. She kissed my cheek and went back to what she was doing. 2 weeks later, Kyle told me Megan had been posting on social media nonstop. Vague quotes about regret, old photos from our trips, a long caption about losing the best thing that ever happened to her. Kyle sent screenshots. I looked at them for about 5 seconds and went back to cooking dinner. Then Amber texted me. Megan got evicted. Couldn't cover rent alone after I left. Freelance income wasn't cutting it. Fell behind 2 months. Moved back in with her parents. And here's the kicker. Brody had completely stopped returning her calls after he moved in with that other girl. The guy she blew up her whole relationship for couldn't even be bothered to text her back. I read the text. Didn't respond. Around May, I got promoted. Senior project coordinator. Better pay, actual office with a door, which after 2 years of hearing my coworker Greg clip his fingernails at his desk every Thursday, felt like winning the lottery. My boss said I'd been sharper the last few months than he'd ever seen. And yeah, he wasn't wrong. I was sleeping 8 hours, hitting the gym before work, eating clean. Funny how that works. Turns out when nobody's quietly draining your energy, you actually have some left for yourself. Natalie and I made it official around then. Toothbrush at my place. Change of clothes at hers. Charlie started recognizing my car and going nuts at the window every time I pulled into her driveway, which never got old. We took a weekend trip to the coast in June. Small cabin near the water. Cooked breakfast together. Went on long walks and talked about real stuff. Plans, goals, what we wanted. No games. No wondering if she was thinking about somebody else while sitting right next to me on a beach. Just peace. One night at dinner, she said something that stuck. You know what I notice about you? You never check my phone. Never ask who's texting me. Never get weird when a friend calls. That's because you've never given me a reason to. That's how it's supposed to be. Yeah, she was right. Last month, my brother told me Megan tried one more time. Handwritten letter, 3 pages, sent to his address. He held it up when I came over for dinner and asked if I wanted it. Nah. He tossed it in the recycling. That same week, she made a new Instagram account and tried to follow Natalie. Natalie showed me the request, laughed about it, hit decline, and went back to throwing a ball for Charlie on the living room floor. Never mentioned it again. Never asked a single question about it. And that right there, that's the difference between someone who's secure in what they have and someone who isn't. Landlord finally got Megan's signature on the lease removal paperwork in April. Took 5 months and 2 separate certified letters, but my name's officially off. Doesn't really matter since she got evicted anyway, but I wanted it clean. No loose threads. As of right now, I'm sitting in my apartment. Sunday morning. Coffee's hot. Charlie's passed out on my couch because Natalie dropped him off before her shift at the hospital. Got my sketchbook open. Music playing low. 0 missed calls from anyone I don't want to hear from. Megan chose Brody. I chose myself. She ended up evicted and living with her parents. I got promoted, and I'm planning another trip to the coast with a girl who has literally never once asked me to leave my own home for any reason. She's still mailing handwritten letters to my brother's address, trying to get through to me. I'm sitting here on a Sunday morning with a borrowed dog and a cup of coffee and 0 drama. And honestly, I still wonder sometimes what was in that letter. Not enough to ask my brother about it. Not enough to regret tossing it. But the thought pops up every now and then. Usually late at night, right before I fall asleep. I'll probably never know what she wrote. And I think I'm okay with that. Most days anyway. And that is where he leaves it, folks. Listen, this story isn't complicated. It really isn't. A girl had a good man, a stable relationship, a shared home, and she threw all of it away because she couldn't let go of an ex, who, by the way, left her after 5 days to move in with his side chick. So let me ask you, what would you have done when she said, I need you to stay away? Would you have said okay and meant it? Or would you have stuck around hoping things would go back to normal? And what about that letter? Do you think he should have read it? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this story hit you, smash that subscribe button. We've got more coming. This has been Qley.